AdamandJP.com.
Right now.
Exploring the multiverse of pop culture.
This is Podcasserole.
An Adam and JP show.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better run, 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 run away. Oh, psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better run, 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 run away.
Did you watch any wrestling this past week? Have you seen images of wrestling this past week?
No.
It's sad.
Why?
Our favorite old stars are old now.
Oh, I know Triple H is old.
They've had the
Undertaker's
teaser.
old.
I'm not watching currently, but I think a pay-per-view is coming up maybe this weekend or soon after. It's going to be Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus Kane and Undertaker.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels looks old now.
Yeah, and that whole eye thing he has gotten a lot worse.
He's shaved head now.
No.
Shawn Michaels is bald, like shaved bald.
Are you serious?
It looks so odd. He had the classic Toby Keith curled cowboy hat on.
Uh-huh.
And I think Taker gave him a choke slam or an attempt of a choke. No, it was a tombstone.
Yeah.
As he flips him over, the hat falls off, and Chrome Dome Michaels right there.
Really?
It's weird. Look it up. And Triple H looks old now. He's still muscled and buff, but he's just kind of floppy.
He's like superstar Billy Graham was back in the 80s.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Which you would probably take as a compliment.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's weird to see my guys getting old.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels is bald?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture during our break here. But he's bald.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So, I guess he probably started thinning his hair.
Oh, yeah, I
His hair
remember the last few
started to
times we
thin.
saw him in the ring, it was going back pretty far.
I've said that too.
Yeah.
And I can see that it's going to happen.
What's that?
The minute my hair starts to thin,
Yeah?
I'm going just totally.
You think so?
It almost happened this last week.
What? There's no way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I feel like I'm kind of doing the Donald Trump thing, honestly. Like, I just don't cut my hair, and then I use whatever's there to cut. It is starting to thin out in the center.
I don't think
which is fun.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah, I
bothered.
embraced this years ago.
It really bothered me about a year ago.
Really?
And now I'm looking forward to I should just shave my head.
It's I say this with all trueness, all sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a full head of hair right now, I would still shave my head bald. I promise. I'm serious. I would.
In the 90s, I pretty
Yeah.
much had a shaved head.
Yeah.
And a goatee.
Yeah. What? Well, but I'm serious when I say that. If I had a full, luscious head of hair, I would still shave it clean. I would.
Uh-huh.
That's just I prefer that now. I really do.
The old nice sheen.
Yeah. Even every 2 days, razor, boom. It's fun. It's rough at first. I told you it's a different transition.
Is it?
Did
Did you nick yourself a lot at first?
Yeah, a lot of blood, like a lot of Band-Aids, because
A lot of blood.
your head meat has different toughness to it.
Right.
Like where the back, like the pack of hot dogs by your neck and your back back there. That's pretty fatty. Everyone's is pretty fatty.
Yeah, I don't have as much as I used to, though.
But everyone has their fattest part of their head.
Yeah.
But then you go right behind your ear, like tap behind your ear, and that's a bone right there. So the thickness of the skin and fat and muscle, much different. And so that's just the first few times I just shaved that right off.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have pictures. It's not good.
Wow.
And then so your scalp is so sensitive, like your scalp for the most part hasn't really been touched before. You think it has, but your hair's protecting it. So the first few nights, you shave it bald. Like every time you're sleeping, if you move on the pillow and a new spot of your actual scalp touches that, it's so sensitive you'll wake up. It's just so sensitive. The nerves are.
Is it like in Star Trek First Contact when the Borg Queen grafted the skin onto Data?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But on your head.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah.
When
she captures
it's been a
Data.
while. Yeah.
And she actually starts to graft skin onto him.
Maybe I don't remember that.
Yeah. And then she just kind of blows right across it.
It's like the hair transplant.
Yeah.
That's how it works,
Yeah. I think it's exactly.
You think so?
Same.
Have you ever seen that technology? I told you. I researched that when I was in denial myself. I'm not saying you are. You have a luscious head of hair. But when I was in denial and I was like, wait, what's going on here? I saw a shimmer. I started looking at actual hair transplants. Have you looked up how that works?
No.
Crazy. The back part of your scalp, let's say about 2 inches above your shoulder line there. In the very center of the back of your head, between your ears, they cut off about a 1.5 to 2 inch tall slice of skin right there. They cut the whole skin of your scalp. Because no matter how bald you get, you'll always have the horseshoe. No one ever, ever, ever loses those hair follicles. No matter what health you're in, what shape you're in, most likely that hair will always be strong and stay there.
Like Picard.
Yeah, sure, yeah. So they take that part off. The gaping wound where that skin once was, they bring those down, staple it together. It heals back after a few weeks or months. And they, piece by piece, take those hair follicles from that very strong spot of that skin and place it into your new hairline. Beforehand, the doctors draw what hairline you want, flat across, an arch to it, and they'll go in from that little belt of hair strands, take them out, the seeds, and plant them back in your new hairline.
Oh, wow.
And within a few months, it takes and accepts and grows back in your new hairline.
How expensive is this?
It's thousands. Yeah.
Thousands?
10-ish thousand, I would say.
What?
Yeah. Oh, it's like a good set of, boobs.
I haven't researched that either.
That's what I hear.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you hear it would be like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hear that's what the breast augmentation costs. I think it's comparable.
Is there something you need to discuss?
No. I'm going to look this up. How much? Let's see here.
How much is a boob job?
Let's see here. That's not bad. In 2014, the average cost of breast augmentation surgery was $3,708, so a little over $3,000. That's not bad at all.
Okay.
How much is a hair transplant? I thought a hair transplant, at least almost 10 years ago.
How much are plugs?
Well, that's a hair transplant.
Oh, that's the same thing.
Yeah, you're plugging
I thought
the
it was
hair.
different.
No.
Because I've even noticed that my hairline has gone back.
Yeah.
In the last few years, it doesn't come as
take that strip out and get it flat across.
Like Jughead.
The cost of a hair transplant is highly variable on the number of different factors. Typically ranges from $4,000 to $15,000.
What?
So a hair transplant is more than a breast implant.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Guess I'm just gonna wear a baseball cap.
Shave it.
Or shave it.
There you go.
I still have some time though.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I do notice when you pull, like if you brush your hair
all
the way to the front.
I was a down brusher. That's why I noticed it. Yeah.
If you brush it all the way to the front.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see your flesh.
Oh yeah.
In the center. I know it's thinning out. I know it is.
Yeah. It's so liberating too. Like whenever I was balding, you lean over and like, oh God, they're looking at my bald spot, my chrome dome.
Yeah.
But now that it's shaved, man, you feel like whatever. Everyone sees it.
Just go with me on this, because this is going to sound like the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I was sitting in front of some TV monitors the other day, though, and one of the cameras was behind me.
Yeah.
And so, because you really never see the back of your head.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about it. Like, we go, unless you try, it's hard to see the back of your head. And I could see the back of my head, and it looked fine. I was expecting it to be thin back there, too, but it looked fine. It was like, well, maybe it's not as bad as I think it is.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Keep it going.
Welcome to Middle-Aged Hair Talk.
Oh, yeah. And my back, let me tell you.
Hey, how about that sensory deprivation tank?
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
You were back in there this week,
I
right?
was. I sure was.
Any weird stories from this one?
I mean, nothing that would make sense to you. I mean, I'll give you a quick one.
Okay.
So in the 90s, and I looked them up after this happened, and I believe with a different cast and ensemble, they still tour to this day. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, in my small hometown, we had a group of people come around called The King and His Court. And what that was, they were kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters, but it was 4 guys playing with a softball team. And they'd go travel around the country, maybe the world, and those 4 guys would play against your whole 9-person adult softball team and just annihilate them. And so in my deprivation tank experience this time, I was a member of The King and His Court. I was playing on the field. It was awesome.
Were you the pitcher?
I wasn't. I was kind of there.
Catcher?
And they're like the Globetrotters. They rotate. Do everything. So yeah, it was cool.
That was the most interesting thing that happened?
I mean, a lot more personal. That's one that makes sense the most for a broad audience.
Okay.
Other stuff happened, but it would make even less sense than that.
Well,
I highly recommend it. I'm telling you.
I'll share a story with you that not everyone will get.
Okay.
From my life this week.
Yeah.
Coy McCoy came back.
Oh wow.
Yep. See,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to know me personally.
Wow.
To know the significance of the return of Coy McCoy was this week.
That's funny.
Coy McCoy is a character that I created
Yeah.
that I'm not going to do on the show.
Right, yeah.
Because even though in my heart it's not offensive, I think it might sound offensive if you didn't know.
I think in 2018 it would, yeah. I never thought about that.
Oh, Coy McCoy would definitely be viewed as offensive. But
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
just hanging out at work the other day,
Just
all of a
happened,
sudden
huh?
Coy McCoy came out.
Wow.
It was like, he's back.
No beverages involved or anything?
Nope.
Just happened. Wow.
No. The return of Coy McCoy.
That's pretty awesome.
And then somebody was like, is he named after Colt McCoy? And I was
Oh,
like,
no, way before that.
No. Neil McCoy's his cousin. Hey, guys. You know my cousin, Neil McCoy?
You should be him for Halloween.
Coy McCoy?
Yeah, just bring it out.
I don't have the glasses anymore.
Really? We can
Those-
find us.
Okay. Sidebar. When I
Yeah.
created the character Coy McCoy,
Uh-huh.
he had some glasses.
Big, thick
that I
ones.
found. I don't know where I found those.
Big thickies.
Where did I find those?
I have no idea.
I found those one day at work when I was working at Toys R Us.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Have you heard this Toys R Us news? Is that legit?
It's coming back.
Yeah, is that legit?
Jeffrey's back, baby.
Is that right?
Maybe.
Is that real?
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you shut down all your stores,
Yeah, you shut down the. I would imagine leases are broken, rent is done, employees are gone, payroll's finished. You can't just joking.
well, I
Can
mean, if that was like what 2 months ago,
Yeah, 2 or 3 ish.
and they haven't gone through bankruptcy yet, so they may have money to not go into bankruptcy now.
Wow.
They eliminated all the overhead.
Yeah, they just
Now they're not selling anything, but they had those going out of business sales for almost a year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So they probably sold a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
It's possible Toys R Us can come back.
The world needs a toy store. That's all I'm saying.
How many brick and mortar Toys R Us do you think there'll be, though? See, that's the question.
But there weren't too many before that, right? I don't know the number, but in our area.
In the greater Nashville area, at one point there were, counting Clarksville, Tennessee, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at one point.
In its prime?
Yeah.
Wow.
That would have been 90, like the last half of the 90s.
Yeah.
There were 5 Toys R Us in this area. And now, when they finally closed this year, there was just
I can think of 2 that I know
2.
of. Yeah.
I think Clarksville and then the Cool Springs.
Oh, I was thinking the Murfreesboro store.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even count Murfreesboro. That's
Yeah.
6.
Okay.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's
And
not.
then- so there might have been 3 left.
Yeah, it's still not very. I mean, it's not very many, really. Compare that to a Target or a Walmart.
Yeah.
A Starbucks, even.
How does Starbucks afford to have so many?
No idea. The same town we just talked of Murfreesboro, I went to college there, and there was a point in time before they had the massive close downs. I worked at a Starbucks. I could walk outside of my Starbucks in the door, look to my left and see a Starbucks, look to my right and see a Starbucks.
Wow.
There were 3 within sight of each other. The signs were like, wow, that's where we are now, huh?
Are they making that? Well, yeah. I mean, they're selling 50-cent coffee for $5.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's a big markup.
it's a huge markup. How are you enjoying Halloween so far?
That's great. Oh, I'm binging so well. I don't have too much time to binge, but I have movies on at all times. Let me say that. I'm not fully consuming those movies, but at all times there's something.
Anything this week of note that you watch?
Quite a few.
Other than Psycho. That we're gonna get into.
First off, the app Shudder, Shudder. Everyone, do yourself a favor, at least for the month of Halloween in October. Go get that app. I believe it's a 1 or 2 week free trial. After that, only $5 a month. And it's like Netflix, but for every horror movie imaginable. Check it out. Our friend Tanner told me about it. I asked him when he was watching this year, because he's kind of the master of horror, we all know.
Yeah.
I asked him when he was watching. He said he's kind of browsing their catalog. I'm like, huh, Shudder, huh? Checked it out. I'm hooked.
Any surprises when you would go through? Like, I can't believe this is in here.
I mean, Faces of Death is on there.
Oh, wow.
It ranges from that to Halloween movies to Rob Zombies. I mean, stuff I've never seen of Rob Zombies before is on there.
Gremlins 2, the new batch?
It may be on there somewhere. But
Ghoulies.
stuff from, the old, like Nosferatu's on there to...
The original Nosferatu?
Yeah.
Oh,
from like the newer stuff. It ranges massively. If you're any kind of horror fan, like I said, at least the bare minimum for the month of Halloween, you have to have that.
Is that 1936 Dracula on there?
Probably. Some Draculas are on there.
Yeah.
I mean, the library is extensive. It's huge.
Is Blackula on there?
Maybe. It's possible. They have genres in there. I didn't know were genres. They'll say, I mean, like Netflix breaks down, comedies and, female-driven suspense romance, stuff like that. They'll do that, but with horror. Like, wow. I do want to watch a religious cult based around a child from the 1930s. Yes, that's a good genre.
In the spirit of Halloween, I've been listening to the Serial Killers podcast.
Oh yeah, how was it?
You know those Parcast podcasts, they're good,
Right.
but they're cheesy.
Uh-huh.
All of them that do, like unexplained mysteries, serial killers, conspiracy theories, they all are kind of cheesy on the surface, especially with the kind of sound effects that they put in.
Yeah. It's that almost not This American Life-ish, but they kind of try to add and have that almost over dramatic narrator. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that specific one, but I have an idea what you're talking about.
But the information from serial killers, the one I just listened to is about BTK.
Uh-huh.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That guy, I had no idea that he would stalk his victims and then go home and research and plan, and he would name these projects. So, like this, say the college-age blonde that lived down the road was Project something. I can't remember what he called her.
Yeah.
But he would call them projects. And he did this in the event that his wife were to stumble upon all of his work, she wouldn't realize he was a serial killer. For nearly 40 years, he was able to... Now, granted, there was a good 25-year gap in between two killings.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't until in the 2000s when there was a news report about BTK, and basically the point of the news report was people have forgotten about him, and then that's kind of inspired him to kill one more time.
Really?
And then, so as meticulous as he was, and honestly as smart as he was to not get caught, he made the dumbest mistake that ended up getting him caught by the authorities.
What happened?
He left them a note on a floppy disk in 2004 and gave them a code to use to print in the paper to respond to him.
Wow.
And his question was, can you track me via floppy disk, be honest? And of course their response was, no, we can't. And he was like, okay. So he kept corresponding through floppy disk, and they would take the floppy disk, and by 2004, 2005, cyber forensics was to the point where you could take a floppy disk, and if a file had been saved on a computer before the one you're reading, you could, backtrack that and find out what computer that came from. And they found out it was from the Lutheran church that he was a member of, that he had just been elected some office in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it had his name on it.
Wow.
And that's how they found him.
Wow.
He was, hey, you can't track this floppy disk, right? No, there's no way to do it.
Man. That was my preferred method back in the old floppy. I used to love using
3 3/4?
Yeah, I used to love using
The old
floppy
3
disk.
3/4 floppy.
Yeah.
And then, once they had his name, they wanted to link him to the crimes. So, they couldn't get his DNA. What they did was they went to his daughter's school, where she was a college, went to the clinic there where she'd been a patient, subpoenaed test results from her that had her DNA in it. They got her DNA and was able to match with the DNA they had from the crimes back in the 60s and 70s.
Wow.
And figured out that she was the killer's daughter through DNA.
Wow.
And then went and arrested him. And once he was arrested, he confessed to everything.
Really?
Yeah. And I got a feeling, just listening to the way he would describe himself and the way he would describe the feelings that would come over him when he was on his murder sprees, Dexter took a lot
Really?
from BTK.
Really? Mm-hmm. Huh.
Because he had a name for the feeling. I forget what he would call it. But he had a name. Like on Dexter, he called it his dark passenger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This guy had a name for that feeling
Really?
that would come over him.
Really?
So, very interesting.
Huh.
Like I said, I like the podcast. I listen to a lot of them.
What else do they do?
They do conspiracy theories. They do unexplained mysteries. They do cults. And they do serial killers. And it's a lot of the same VO talent.
Oh, really?
And the way it's edited, they try to make it sound like one host is talking to the other, but you can tell, at least I can tell, the way it's edited, Like, say me and you were the host of the show, you would go in and cut all your stuff, then I would come in and cut all my stuff.
Yeah.
And then a producer is putting it all together to make it sound like we're talking to each other.
Sounds kind of painful to listen to, actually.
Let's see.
It
comes to my part, I would be like, "That's right, Adam." Stuff like that.
I'm on. I was trying to find some Dracula movies for you on Shudder.com here. Apparently there's Dan Curtis's Dracula starring Jack Palance. Didn't know that.
Believe it or not.
I did find, and I have it in my queue,
Jack Palance in the City Slickers movies,
right?
That we were talking about a couple of weeks ago.
That's true. It's all.
There's this one thing.
It's all full circle. I found Crystal Lake Memories, the official complete history of Friday the 13th. It's a Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th documentary, clocking in at right under 7 hours long. 400 minutes. True story.
I thought the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary was really, because it was 4, right?
Yeah, 4. This is right below 7 hours long.
Wow.
That's on Shudder.com for you. Free for 1 to 2 weeks. And
I thought
$5.
Shudder.com was, you get your business cards printed through
No. Check out Shudder.
It's that Shutterfly.
It's on your, that's
Shutterfly.
Shutterfly. Yeah, that's with a TT. This is a DD. Like Shudder. Like, I'm shuddering from being so scared.
So what happened to Fear.net?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Was it that the original horror streaming platform?
Did they ever stream?
I thought they did. Well, it's called Fear.net.
Yeah. I'm going to go there with literal fear. What is Fear.net? Wow. Fear.net redirects you to sci-fi.com right now.
Really?
Interesting. Well, that was a waste.
Sci-fi.com. Did that used to be the Science Channel?
Well, it used to be, no. Science Channel was its own thing. That was actual science fiction. Now it's SYFY, which what that means, I have no idea.
Sci-fi.
But it used to be actually like SCIFI, sci-fi, like for science fiction.
Right.
What's up with the SYFY?
I'm sure it was some sort of branding, marketing.
It's a terrible idea.
Hey, let's make Sharknado. I remember before the Sharknado movies came out, there was this article that I read that Sci-Fi said they were going to start taking their production seriously and we're going to do serious. This was following the success of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they knew that was their future. And then not 1 year later, they announced Sharknado.
That's funny.
That is hilarious.
But check it out, Shudder.com. I'm telling you, do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's free-ish.
How much is it?
$5 a month once you pay for it.
You're a fan of YouTube TV, right?
Of course, yeah. That is mine.
It used to be called YouTube Red?
Well, that's a different thing, but yeah.
What's YouTube Red?
It's like its own subscription, kind of like a lot of big YouTube stars have their own shows and movies exclusive, like the new Karate Kid series.
Right.
Was a YouTube Red exclusive.
You couldn't get that on YouTube TV, though.
You can buy them together as a package, but it's not. It's a different thing separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So YouTube
it's like Hulu
TV.
and Hulu TV, you know? Yeah.
I have some questions here.
Yeah.
That I should probably ask you while we're not doing the show.
Well, you know.
Can I get my sports channels?
I have every sport imaginable. Big Ten Network, SEC Network, every ESPN known to man.
Fox Sports?
Yeah.
Fox Sports South?
Yeah, N1.
Fox Sports Southeast?
Yeah.
So I can watch my beloved Bravos.
Yeah.
At last check, we're losing miserably 4-0 to the
Yeah.
Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 1 of the National League Division Series.
Yeah. Which the winner of that's going to face my Brewers, I believe.
I believe
We'll
so,
see.
too.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Mhm.
And you can get your local channels?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And how much is it a month?
33, I believe, a month.
Get out of town.
I promise you.
AMC?
AMC.
Can I watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah, it's all just like having a DVR. You can pause it, save it for later. Archives or movies on there. I saw that Hocus Pocus is playing Saturday. Well, I don't own that. It's streaming nowhere, but I see it's streaming on Freeform. They're 31 Days of Halloween, so I have that archive. So once it plays, it'll record, and it's in my archive.
I remember 2 years ago on Halloween night, we went outside, we set up, we did the candy for the kids, we came back inside and watched Hocus Pocus.
That's the way to do it. That's like that movie is like the Garth Brooks of movies.
How so?
It's streaming nowhere. I have almost every single streaming service known to man. I have Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, now Shudder. It goes on and on. But on none of those services is Hocus Pocus to be found. But YouTube TV will have it,
Huh, interesting.
aka Freeform. But once you save that, like a DVR, it's yours forever.
Right.
Forever. Yeah, I'm telling you, I've been preaching it for months. I'm not bashing it, but I hear like Sling TV's pretty good. I hear Roku TV is doing the same thing. Apple TV is all right. I'm sure they're all kind of the same idea. But that process, the idea of streaming and those services and kind of almost actually cutting the cable of the satellite is just, it's a no-brainer.
I'm ready.
I mean, yeah.
I'm ready. I've been hesitant for a long time.
Right, yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
It may be 30, it's 30-something, maybe 36, 37, but definitely below $40 a month.
I think this is the time I've been waiting for, is when I can get something like YouTube TV.
You think so, yeah.
So I was thinking about DirecTV Now,
Yeah.
which is the same thing, about the same thing, and roughly about the same amount of money,
Yeah.
but no DVR. I think they have like a beta DVR, cloud-based DVR thing they're doing. But
There's a channel on there called Comet TV. Never heard of this, but it is, I think you'll love it. It's great. It's almost like classic cheesy horror sci-fi at all times. It's stuff from the 50s to the 80s of just that kind of campy at all times.
could that John Ritter movie we talked about be on there?
Which one?
The one where he's stuck in the TV.
Oh, Stay Tuned?
Stay tuned.
It could be, yeah.
With Pam Dauber.
Every movie on there reminds me of movies that Mystery Science Theater will kind of make fun of.
Uh-huh.
But there's just the actual movie itself. But it's called Comet TV at all times.
Minos, the Hands of Fate?
Maybe.
That was
It's possible.
Mystery Science Theater.
But yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out. YouTube TV. Shudder. We should get all these.
Are they paying for this?
No, they should be, though.
I feel like we've done nothing but sponsors
I
for
know,
the last
I know.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, you have the choice here.
Right?
I'm going to give you some choices.
Okay.
Or two. Adam's Ghost,
Uh-huh.
or we go right into Psycho.
Seeing the time, I think we should go right into Psycho.
Okay, we can do that.
I think we have a lot to talk about.
So our Halloween assignment for this week was not just watch Psycho,
Because everyone's watched Psycho.
Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and I just recently found out there was a Psycho 4.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. I'm going to be honest with you. I could not find Psycho 4 to watch anywhere.
It's a tough one to find.
I couldn't find
I
it.
think
Did you
it's
find
the-
it?
I've seen clips online. I kind of pieced that together myself. Read extensively what the story's about, even though it still doesn't make sense. But I have a firm grasp of what it's about. I know as much about it as I can without actually seeing it.
Okay, well, let's start with Psycho.
Right, okay.
The 1960 classic.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go on record here. If you were to sit me down and actually make me do a list of the greatest films of all time, I'll be honest with you. Alfred Hitchcock is going to be on that list quite a few times.
Yeah.
Vertigo, The Birds, Rear Window, all favorites of mine. But probably the highest ranking Hitchcock film on that list is going to be Psycho. I love the original Psycho.
It's good.
I think the original Psycho was one of the first true horror movies that I watched.
Uh-huh.
I think for 1960, this really kind of pushed the brownies. No,
Ooh.
it pushed the boundaries.
I think I'm pushing a brownie right now.
Oh well, it smells like it.
It's National Taco Day.
Oh, okay. And I just I love the original Psycho,
It's good.
but I don't know that I can say anything about the original Psycho that far smarter people haven't already said.
Right. You know, I'm pretty sure we ourselves have spoken of it quite a bit. Every Halloween it gets brought up, as it should. It's a great one. It's one of those movies. The first time I saw it was in high school. Our English teacher showed it to us. It's one of those kind of movies.
Anthony Perkins is Norman Bates
Right.
in the original Psycho.
Yeah.
Thoughts quickly.
Great casting. Almost too great because it seems like at this point afterwards he was horribly typecast for that role specifically. So I think once again, great casting, but too good and too on the money.
The legacy of Janet Leigh in
Mm-hmm.
horror films as Marion Crane.
For the limited amount of time she's in there from the original movie, pretty big impact for what it was.
But she's kind of the star of the film.
Yeah, it kind of pulls like
It starts with her.
Right, yeah.
Coming up with this scheme to get her husband or boyfriend out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to steal the money from the bank and then goes on a road trip
Yeah.
that literally ends at the Bates Motel.
Yeah.
And like the iconic shower scene, the way it's shot in the silhouettes with Norman Bates' mom, which ends up being spoiler alert, it's Norman. But my favorite scene is at the very end when he's in the jail cell and he's just staring into the
That's a good
camera,
shot. Yeah.
and you hear his mother's
Right.
voice.
Yeah. And that's the way it could have and should have ended. Now, to be fair, these were based off of novels, and the novels have multiple installments as well, kind of sequels after the original. But until the day he died, literally, Alfred Hitchcock always said he has the rights to it. They'll never make a Psycho sequel. He dies, and about 12 months later, sequel starts happening.
Well, the book happened first.
Right, yeah.
We had the original Psycho 2 book, and I guess Universal didn't want to do that as a movie.
Changed drastically at this point.
Yeah, so they wanted to do a movie that they felt was more faithful to the movie character Norman Bates.
But in general, he's the Norman Bates in the book. So I've looked that up this week as well, and the book Norman Bates is totally different. He's a balding, fat slob, he's not the visual Norman Bates we know and love from the screen.
He's more like Mr. Toomey from Psycho 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
So 1983, Anthony Perkins comes back in a film directed by Richard Franklin, who was actually a student of Alfred Hitchcock.
Right, yeah. So it was smart they used this guy for it.
Right. Well, I don't know.
I'll go on record.
Swords. What do you use?
I thoroughly enjoyed Psycho 2.
I did not.
Did not expect to. So you're putting too much clout on the first Psycho. You can't do that. It was good for 1960. We're in 2018 now. That's like saying the Model T is one of the greatest cars of all time. You can't do that. For the time, it was fantastic. But holding up today, it doesn't do it.
No, I think...
Would you call the Model T one of the greatest cars of all time?
No, but I would call the Mustang one of the greatest cars of all time.
Yeah.
Here's a better comparison. You get the Ford Mustang, right?
Right,
The original muscle car.
Yeah.
And the sequel to the Ford Mustang was the Pinto.
Or the hatchback Mustang, yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. How about that? When they
That was a rough
redid
time.
the Mustang.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Psycho's good. I mean, but I don't think it's...
No.
That
Admit it.
Psycho's good.
Say exactly what you said before we started recording.
I said at this moment in time in my life, Psycho 1 and Psycho 2 gave me the exact same amount of pleasure, entertainment. Really. I think Psycho 2 is a better story.
No way. There's no way.
You have this idea that Psycho. Now, granted, at the time it was amazing.
Oh,
because we'd never.
No. Finish your sentence.
We'd never.
You have this idea that Psycho is one of the greatest films of all time because it is. This isn't me talking.
Have you forgotten that after the shower scene, it's like a almost 15 minutes. Count that up. Almost 15 minutes of him cleaning the shower.
That's tension. That's tension. That's very Hitchcockian.
That idea may come around to being popular again in a few years, but in 2018, that does not work.
Have you ever seen Rear Window?
Yeah, and I had watched that and all of this stuff in film school. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I'm not the world's biggest Hitchcock fan. He's great,
There's so much Rear
but I was
Window
force-fed his material. Maybe that's why.
where he's looking out on really nothing happening.
Yeah.
But everything's happening.
Yeah,
So in that scene, that cleanup scene,
yeah.
it's even though to you it's a tedious, unnecessary 15 minutes,
Yeah.
it is there to question in your head what's really going on with Norman Bates in this.
I guess. During the cleanup scene, I actually started checking my phone. And I'm on there for a bit, and I come back up, and he's still cleaning the damn bathroom.
You never looked at your phone during Psycho 2?
No, because I'd never seen that. So Psycho I've seen between 5 and 10 times.
Right.
So it was nothing new to me. I mean, I'm going for a refresh.
Mm-hmm.
But Psycho 2, I'd never seen any frame of that movie before. And I went in with very negative, like, this is going to suck, I'm going to hate it. And that could be why I liked it more than I thought it would. Very low expectations. And I think the character of Norman Bates is much more developed in part 2. The fact that he wants to be good, and that kind of sets the tone for the whole installment.
Now, I'll give you that.
The whole series.
I do like the idea of a rehabilitated Norman Bates.
Yeah.
But
some plot points are terrible, I'll give you that.
But to that point, by having that as a plot point in Psycho 2 shows you exactly how misunderstood mental illness was in 1983.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Because it doesn't work that way.
I guess we should give a quick plot synopsis of what 2 is about.
Okay.
22. In the trailers, they say 22, but by the time the release of the movie, 23 years have passed. And then Norman Bates has been rehabilitated. So he's been released back on the streets. Not only has he been released from the mental hospital / prison he was in, but he goes back to the exact same setting, exact same town, and goes back in the exact same home he was abused and killed all the people in.
Because if you were put away for being a serial killer that impersonated your mother,
Yeah.
who you also killed, the best thing to do is go back in the house Where you used to keep her
Air
corpse.
quotes on mother. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Where you used to keep her corpse.
Right, yeah.
Looking down onto the hotel.
Yeah.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah. So he goes back there, gets at first has a quick job as a short order cook pretty much in the local cafe, meets a nice girl there, but as time goes on, he gets notes and phone calls from his mother. He realizes, oh no, I'm not fully healed. I may be going crazy again. Maybe I was crazy the whole time.
He was crazy the whole time.
He confides and befriends one of the ladies from work, brings her back to the house.
Friends.
Brings her back to
You're really giving the G-rated version of this. They're pals.
Yeah, brings her back to the house, tells her he's afraid to stay in the house by himself because he can't do it. And finally she gives in and they become, buddies.
Pals. Amigos.
Long story short. We'll cut to the almost endish there, but time goes on. People start getting killed. He's getting more and more phone calls and notes from his mother. He thinks he's going crazy. What we find out is Marion Crane, the original character from Psycho 1, played by Janet Leigh, her sister, and I forget her name. Do you know her name?
Lila.
Lila, yes.
In Psycho, it's Lila Crane.
Right, yeah.
That's her name.
Yeah.
In Psycho, it's Lila Crane.
Uh-huh.
Okay, continue. It's same actress.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Same actress that played Lila and Vera Miles. She played Lila Crane in Psycho.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
In Psycho 2, she returns as the same character.
And so the whole time we're not supposed to remember that's her?
No, they tell you right up front.
Right, yeah.
Because the opening scene of Psycho 2 is her protesting in court, him being released.
And so we find out, and once again, I've seen so many Psycho movies in the past 72 hours, the names are escaping me. The coworker from the restaurant he befriended, what's her name? What's the character's name?
The character's name is, the actress's name is Meg Tilly.
Yeah.
The character's name is Mary.
Mary. Yeah. Mary is the daughter of, what's her face, Crane?
Lila.
Yeah, Lila Crane.
Lila Crane.
What happened here was Marion Crane's sister was trying to seek revenge on her sister's death and try to make Norman believe he was going crazy again. So much so, she was so into that plan, she almost pretty much sacrificed her own daughter and put her in the plan as well.
Would you say they come up with this idea to make him crazy again.
Yeah.
To force him to kill so he can go back.
Yeah.
That's the plot of this.
Don't say that with a negative tone.
But here's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
She is Lila Loomis.
Yeah.
In the second one. And maybe I missed something. Maybe they explained it. And I just missed it, which is totally possible. And if I did, please feel free to let me know. In the original Psycho, she is Lila Crane, the sister of Marion Crane,
right?
Whose boyfriend is Sam Loomis, who is $40,000 in debt, and that's why she steals the money. That's why Marion steals the money at the beginning of the original Psycho. In Psycho 2, she is Lila Loomis, the sister of Marion, that they never say the last name. Why did they change the name? Did I miss something? Did she end up marrying?
Yeah, I mean, she has a child, so odds are back in the 60s and 70s, she was married. I guess she married Sam.
Is that it? Did she and Sam end up?
That's what I'm taking from it, yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I'm on her biography page here of the character. In Psycho 2, Norman is released from the mental institution he was placed in at the end of the first film after 22 years. Lila, now known as Lila Loomis, having apparently married Sam, protests angrily and petitions to keep him locked up.
So she married Marion's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, that's convenient. So now she's Lila Loomis.
Right.
And
yeah.
she has a daughter.
Yeah.
Mary.
Right.
I guess named after Marion.
And what happens is hilarity ensues, mix-up happens, people die, and you kind of think the whole time, you think you know who the killer is. Because it's not, up until this point here, it's not Norman Bates. He's been good. He's been innocent.
There's two characters you're forgetting about here.
Who's that?
First of all,
there are quite a few. It's a big ensemble here.
First of all, there is Robert Loggia.
Yeah. You loved him, didn't you?
As Dr. Robert Loggia?
Yeah.
It's great.
Like, you had to bring that up, and I forgot about it.
Do you remember the commercial with Robert Loggia in it from the 90s?
No.
It was what was the Orange Growers commercial? It was orange juice?
No.
The parents are sitting there with their kid, and they're like, Billy, come on, what's it going to take for you to drink your orange juice?
Yeah.
If Robert Loggia shows up and tells me to drink my orange juice, and then Robert Loggia shows up, Billy, drink your orange juice.
I'm looking up his
you don't remember this?
filmography. What? There's some movie I know him from. I'll look it up here.
Yeah, Robert Loggia's been in anything, in everything.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
He's been in
Maybe
everything.
maybe Independence Day. Is that what I know him from?
Yes, he was in Independence Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
But he's that guy. Like everyone knows the face, but no one knows the name.
He was in Opportunity Knocks.
That's the one. Dana Carvey.
With Dana
That's
Carvey.
actually it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in what else has he been in? Yeah, like his filmography goes all the way back to the 50s.
Yeah, those early 90s Dana Carvey vehicles. Everyone loves those.
Opportunity did not knock.
Yeah.
He did a lot of television too. You'd see him a lot on TV.
So I forgot him. Who else do you think I forgot?
You forgot Mr. Toomey?
Yeah. I thought that was, what's his actual name?
Dennis Franz.
Yeah. I just know him as the NYPD guy.
Yeah.
NYPD blue guy.
Mr. Toomey.
Because while Norman Bates has gone to the mental institution, I'm not sure how the logistics, legalities of that work, but somehow, some way, someone took over ownership
the
of his.
state. I guess the state is running the hotel.
But the second he's released from the institution, it's his again?
I guess. So the state put Mr. Toomey in charge of running the hotel.
It's pretty much a brothel.
It was turned it into a you pay by the hour hotel. That is one of my favorite scenes where Anthony Perkins or Norman Bates is talking to his Dr. Raymond, his psychologist, who's Robert Loggia. And he goes, and I think he's turned it into an adult hotel. With drug, remember? Because he finds the roach.
Yeah, yeah.
And he confronts Mr. Toomey. What is this?
Oh, wow.
Dennis Franz is always the best greaseball you can find.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's pretty gross.
Yeah.
So the end, whenever Lila is kind of, you think you know who the killer is. Lila goes and gets her Mrs. Bates costume, but then she's just stabbed right in the face.
Do you hear yourself?
She's stabbed right in the face.
Do you hear yourself? So in the pantheon of Psycho, Norman killed Marion Crane,
right,
and her sister,
right, yeah,
and her niece,
right,
by accident.
Yeah, yeah.
He kills Mary by accident.
This all wraps up. Norman Bates is innocent. Everything is good.
Ish.
In the last 10 minutes, here's what's weird about this. This is where a good twist comes in, Mr.
Well, they
Hitchcock.
pushed him over the edge, and so he actually killed Lila.
Yeah.
And then accidentally killed Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lila gets killed by, you know who, doesn't she? By the actual killer. Yeah?
Norman Bates.
Was it him?
Yeah.
Now I'm confused. Anyways.
Who did you think it was?
I thought it was Emma Spool, who we're going to meet here soon.
It was
it's
Emma Spool.
Yeah.
You're right. She was behind it the whole
The
time.
whole time it was her.
Time it was her. It wasn't Norman Bates.
Come
You're
to
right.
find out.
I forgot about that.
We come to find out Norman Bates' mother is not Norma Bates. Emma Spool, the original sister of Norma Bates, had a child at a young age, couldn't take care of him, gave it away to her sister, Norma Bates. And so Emma Spool shows up telling Norman she is his actual mother.
Mm-hmm. And he makes her a sandwich.
Makes her a sandwich, some tea. She sits down. And probably one of my...
This is my favorite
That's
scene
why
in the
I love
whole
this movie so much. I laughed out loud, and I don't do that often in a horror movie. It's a great scene.
He's like, Mrs. Spool, are you really my mother? Yes, Norman, I am.
He picks up a shovel. And I'm sure the clip is on YouTube somewhere. I'm sure it is. But it's great. I couldn't tell if it was a stunt woman or like a split right beforehand.
That was some good editing.
Yeah, I watched it a lot. I'm like,
but
what?
the sound of the shovel is amazing.
And somehow he hits her so hard from the trajectory on top, the chair shatters like an 80s WWF prop. The wooden chair just splats. We cut to this overhead Dutch angle bird shot, and she's on the floor sprawled out. And pretty much he kills Emma Spool, his actual mother, his birth mother, with the speaking in his head. So old school Norman Bates is back by the end here.
Now he's back to his, because he collects her and takes her upstairs. And now mother is back in overseeing the Bates Motel.
I think that's great to rewrite what most people think of as a classic of Psycho, for that to happen and pretty much wipe that out. Like Norma Bates is not his mother.
Here's how meaningful it is.
Yeah.
I'd totally forgotten until you brought it up that was how the movie ended.
Because you've been brainwashed for years that Psycho's the only way in.
Psycho is the only way in. I don't really acknowledge these sequels after watching them.
What?
You forget, though, before she falls into her sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one of those into the sandwich,
That's
into
true.
the floor.
I want to watch that shovel hit again. It's so good.
And the way he just he's holding it.
Yeah.
Like Freddie Freeman walking up to the plate.
It's pretty good. But yeah,
Mrs. Spool, are you really my mother?
all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed Psycho 2.
Okay, I have a couple more thoughts about Psycho 2, and then we'll move on to the masterpiece that is Psycho 3.
Yeah, I think our talks of 3 and 4 won't be as in depth.
Where Lawnmower Man makes an
Oh yeah,
appearance.
right, yeah.
And it starts out with a nun committing suicide.
Yeah, well,
or trying.
She tried. The one actually fell on accident.
That's right. She tried to kill herself, but in the
We'll get there.
That's coming up.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Here's my problem with Psycho 2.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like an NBC movie of the week.
No, that's part 4.
No. Like the
And
beginning.
part 4 actually was.
Psycho 2 feels like a network movie.
No.
Yes.
No. You
And
think
then
so?
you know what the most uncomfortable part of this? The first 20 minutes where Norman Bates, at this point in 1983, a middle-aged man, is trying to get this 17-year-old girl to come back to his hotel.
I really took that as a friend. I mean, yeah, nothing bad happened.
How
In
old
part
do you-
3, we have some
How old do you
romance.
think Meg Tilly was in this? She's like 17, 18.
But I really
She
took
only
that
has
as,
like 2 credits before this one. She was in Fame.
I took that as them being friendly.
Really? Like the first 20 minutes of this is just him over and over again. I thought you were coming back. I thought you were coming to my house. I don't want to go. Don't make me go by myself.
I think he was actually
Are
lonely
you-
and scared. You don't think so?
I mean, time and time again, like he propositions this young girl to stay the night at his house. She's like, no, that's fine. I'll be okay. Oh, it'll be great. You should come
Yeah.
spend the night at my house. Okay, if you don't want to spend the night at my house, spend the night at my motel. That's the first 20 minutes of that movie.
So I checked her age. The actress Meg Tilly was 23 years old at the time. So maybe early 20s. Is that so wrong?
He's what, mid-40s?
I mean, I've seen worse.
50-ish by this point?
Yeah.
And that's all that first one. It's so uncomfortable. And the way he touches her. And then when he finally convinces her, and then she stays, but she gets scared. So she leaves.
barricade, yeah.
And then like the next day at work, at the restaurant, at the diner, he's like, why did you leave out so early this morning? I was going to make you breakfast. I was like, what is this?
I didn't take it like that. I
This
don't know.
is the most uncomfortable
Really?
movie
I never took it
ever
as sexual.
seen.
I thought he was kind of. He pretty much has the mind, the social skills of a 14-year-old.
Bad writing.
Yeah.
Subpar acting for the
Well,
first
that's-
30 minutes of this.
I mean,
It feels like a network movie.
Yeah.
There's no way this is an R-rated movie. And out of nowhere, just for the reason to show it, full frontal nudity in the shower.
yeah. I mean, it's an 80s horror movie. You can't not
But
have
that was
that.
out of nowhere. It's not in the context of what you've seen so far.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I mean, it was literally like, oh my, this doesn't even feel like the same movie now. It doesn't belong
I
anymore.
mean, it's a quarter of a century later almost. You've got to up the ante. You have to have a higher body count. You have to show some skin. This is not a 1960 horror movie anymore. We don't use chocolate syrup for blood in the shower. The stakes are higher.
But you didn't feel like that was odd? That was just kind of shoehorned in?
I think if you
Show her totally naked.
have you watched any horror movies from the 80s before?
I
There's-
know,
there's
but
no need for any of that
But my
nudity.
point being, like, you usually in the classics of the 80s, you
Yeah.
usually get it all the way through. Like
Yeah.
it sets the tone.
Yeah.
In this movie, it feels like a movie of the week on ABC.
I'm not sure what kind of ABC you have at home.
Well, that's what I'm saying. For the first 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
that happens. And then there's not really anything else until...
So you want just like a straight up, like a Cinemax horror movie at night?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, why did the filmmakers choose to go to that level in that film when nothing else in that movie matches that? No language, no violence, there's no other nudity
Or some like the stabbing in the face, mouth. That's
at the end.
yeah.
But it looks pretty bad. That's not a very convincing stab.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a solid 8 for me.
I thought it was
Psycho 2 is an
creepy.
8. Yeah.
Like Norman Bates is supposed to be rehabilitated, but he's far creepier trying to get this young girl to come back to his house for the night
Yeah.
than that he just met.
I mean, the way I see it, this is his first time ever being mentally stable out on his own. So he is like a 15-year-old trying to socialize. He doesn't grasp that concept of what's good. I really never took that as sexual. I took it as wanting a friend.
I don't know.
Part 3 is different.
It was
but part
still
2
creepy though. Did it not seem creepy to
No,
you
not
at
really.
all?
Not until you say that. I guess you could see that, but when watching it, I was never.
What about when he starts following her down the road? Still, 20 minutes into the movie, she's like, "No, I'm just gonna go to my friend's house." Oh, but you shouldn't. And he like grabs her by the arm, and then when the cop shows up the next day, and they're standing out talking to the cop. He puts his arm around her waist.
We're talking about Norman Bates, like
It doesn't seem. It was weird.
almost 25 years prior.
It was
He has
weird.
peepholes
I'm
of,
just-
of girls he's watching take showers.
That's
I mean,
fun, but I'm just saying, the way they had him acting at the beginning of that is far creepier than anything he did.
really?
You know, the creepiness level is matched in the Psycho remake
Oh yeah,
with Anne Heche and
yeah. Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
Vince Vaughn played Norman Bates about that creepy
Mm-hmm.
in the Psycho remake.
which if we have time to talk about that, I wouldn't mind. Talking,
yeah.
because people hate that. But I don't
I
mind.
guess we should move on.
Yeah.
Take us to Psycho 3.
Oh man, this one doesn't stand out so much to me. Like you said, the opening, we kind of open with a nun. We're at a what are they called? Like a big church
A nunnery.
nunnery. That's it. She's there. She's suicidal. Is she having doubts of her religion? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah.
I think she can't. I think
She's lost her faith.
She's lost some faith. Has some sexual tendencies. Wonders what's out there, and she's trying to, I believe, from the top of the bell tower, trying to be suicidal. A group of nuns come up. A scuffle happens. One falls back and actually dies, and that kind of stops the insanity. Then we cut to her hitchhiking. This nun.
Yeah.
Is that when she's picked up by Lawnmower Man?
That's when she's picked up by Jeff Fahey from the cinematic classic Lawnmower Man. He just cannot play a normal character.
No, not at all. And what happens throughout there is it's all kind of a blur. How would you describe what's the quick plot synopsis of this? I mean, our last one for Psycho 2 was almost
at
30
this
minutes
point
long.
In Psycho 3, the cops totally believe Norman Bates is
Right,
not
he's-
capable of murder ever.
Yeah, he's good. He's fine.
But actually Norman Bates is back.
Which makes me wonder what happened to the remains of his actual mother, the shovel mom. Like what happened when
She's up in the. He's got him in the house.
She's still just up there, even in
Yeah.
part 3.
in part 3.
It's no one.
Like, are you talking about at the end of Psycho 2?
Yeah,
Yeah, he gathers her
Yeah,
up, and
right.
now she has replaced.
right.
She's in the chair
But it's
in
so
front of
odd.
the
I mean,
window.
I don't want to sound like that guy, but I would imagine I couldn't just hold a dead body in my bedroom and no one notices that.
Well, he did in Psycho.
Wouldn't people come looking I mean, in Psycho, yeah. Then hey, I guess you're right for the mother.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't until Marion
Well, they
Crane
don't
went
suspect
missing.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just missing.
Yeah.
They and I guess she worked at the diner.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to mention that.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
You actually meet her at the diner where he works.
Yeah.
And then, because this is supposed to be, 6 months after Psycho 2.
Yeah. It's soon after. Yeah.
It was 3 years later, but only 6 months has passed.
Don't
in
you
the story.
think? Real quickly, give me 45 seconds. Going back to Psycho 2, don't you think the Scream franchise has a little bit to owe to that? The kind of whodunit mystery, multiple people. This could be the killer. That's not. But
To
you get a
Psycho
twist of-
2?
Yeah.
No.
When I'm watching that, I got Scream vibes. Really? You think someone's a killer? It's not. It's someone else. It's multiple people involved. But then there's a twist of the mom coming back, and boom, boom.
You think horror icon Wes Craven
Yeah.
was not inspired by Hitchcock, but inspired by the director of Psycho 2
I'm just saying.
in 1983 when he was already making movies.
I think the story is stronger in part 2. That's all I'll say. The filmmaking may not be, the acting isn't, the shots aren't as good, but the story itself, I think, is much stronger than part 1.
I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with it.
Okay, back to 3.
Yeah, so Lawnmower Man shows up at the Bates Motel. Norm,
It sounds like a bad Halloween Horror Nights at Universal for some reason.
Norman Bates hires him as the overnight manager.
Right, yeah.
And then Sister Hazel.
Yeah.
Well,
it does
he
get-
picks her up.
it does get sexy here.
Here's the thing.
It does get sexy here. I think at this point
I
in time.
don't think that's the word you want to go with.
Norman
I think
Bates has
rapey's the word you want to go with.
they're both.
Lawnmower Man tried to rape her.
Oh, I thought we were talking Norman Bates.
No.
Oh, never mind. Yeah. Yeah.
When he picked up, what I don't want to call her Sister Hazel anymore. What was the character's name?
Forgotten, honestly.
Yeah, he picked her up, and
Maureen Coyle.
right,
Because she had the same initials as Marion Crane.
right,
The MC on there with the bag.
right. Yeah, he picked her up hitchhiking, and you know, attacked her.
Yeah.
And then she got out, or actually he kicked her out.
Yeah. She's gone.
Lawnmower Man is not a nice guy. Dwayne Duke,
Right.
who
What a
wants to
name.
be Elvis.
You think so?
Yeah, well, yeah, I get kind of an Elvis vibe
Yeah,
from him. He's
yeah.
got the guitar. And then, I don't know, wasn't there like some high school or college was having their reunion at the Bates Motel?
Oh, yeah. There's like a lot of teens or college kids showed
just
up.
running around.
It's kind of a teaser for like, here's a body count. It's coming.
Yeah. This became like an 80s slasher movie. This was more, to me, this felt more like a classic 80s slasher
Yeah.
than Psycho 2.
Yeah. And this
Because,
is directed by Anthony Perkins, by the way.
That's right.
Let's talk about that.
Anthony Perkins makes his directorial debut with Psycho 3.
Yeah. It's funny. So if you go look at this cover art of the VHS box, whatever, I saw this so many times as a kid growing up, and it terrified me. It's the classic scene of the steps behind him and Norman Bates holding the key, looking at you. And I have vivid memories. Yeah, right there. I have vivid memories of that visual, but not until the past 48 hours did I actually see this movie. It's kind of cool.
It's not cool.
Did you just see this for the first time?
Past
week? Yeah.
Yeah, last week.
Wow.
Man, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not a good one. It's it's pretty rough.
It's real rough.
Because it almost tries to humanize Norman Bates even more so.
But he's the killer in this.
Right, yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
He's back to Psycho Norman Bates.
But it's almost described as like a romantic horror movie. It's a lot of love scenes and relationship. I mean,
Who's he in love with?
With Maureen. They're they're sexing and stuff.
Right.
They have a thing.
That's right.
They have a thing, man.
They do.
Yeah.
They do have. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it comes down there's a final fight though, right? There's a battle between psychos really because that's I think what they were trying to get across in this is the duality of being disturbed.
Right.
On one side you have the criminally homicidally disturbed and Norman Bates, and on the other end you have the sexually disturbed and Dwayne Duke.
Right.
And then they battle each other at the end.
Yeah.
In the weirdest final battle I've ever seen because he's got all the pornography taped up in his motel room.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work he got done in the span of a day.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
The lamp with the light, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read online Perkins wanted him to be totally nude, but the actor didn't feel comfortable, so they had the lamps there.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a full nude scene.
Really?
Yeah, fully straight on.
Wow.
But he's like, hey, man, can I use those lamps? But the way, Maureen dies kind of an odd way at the end. The weird shot down the stairs. She gets
from the first one.
Right, yeah.
They harken back and shoot that like they did for the original Psycho.
Yeah, it's almost an accident.
Following back down the steps.
And she gets impaled by the Cupid, which is very ironic but cool because it's just kind of cool to me. A lot of movies would kind of, put this prop there and keep showing that. We'll use this sharp Cupid arrow later on. But since the original 1960 Psycho, that Cupid statue was always in that exact same spot. And they just kind of wrote that into the script for her. I think that part was cool to me. Because if you go back and watch the original, that Cupid was right there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That I did read that and kind of reading up on these after I watched them, that a lot of the props from the original Psycho they were able to salvage and bring back for the sequels, which is cool. And they shot it on the Universal backlot, which we can get into that in a second. But there's a reporter that's trying to get the scoop on Norman Bates.
Right,
she suspects,
once again, there's always someone snooping in his house.
That's right. It was Robert Loggia in Psycho 2.
Yeah.
And then there's just teenagers show up at his house. It's a really bad movie.
It's not good. It's not memorable. I don't remember this. I saw it more recently. I don't remember half of it as much as part 2.
Here's the twist at the end. The cop is disappointed to learn that Norman Bates is actually a killer.
Right, yeah.
He was so disappointed.
Oh, man.
Norman, I don't know why you did this. I got to take you in, bud. And then they try to go back to the voice in his head, like in the jail cell from the original, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
In this one, he's in the back of the cop car, and then you hear, I guess, Shovel Mom.
Yeah. Shovel. Is it his mom or birth mom? Which mom is it?
Birth Mom. That would be Shovel Mom.
Yeah, Shovel Mom. Yeah.
And it's just Psycho 3 is worse than Psycho 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they get worse. Well, 1 and 2 were. Give me a few weeks. We'll talk about that. I'll think about it. But 3 and 4 go downhill fast.
No, you had it right. Psycho's brilliant. Psycho 2, kind of movie of the week with oddly placed nudity.
But see, that's my jam, though.
Psycho 3's terrible.
I love movie of the week with random nudity.
Oh, well.
That's why, I don't know. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Psycho 3? Don't watch this. We should do this. Would you recommend the original Psycho?
Yes.
I would too.
Yeah.
Would you recommend Psycho 2?
Yes.
I would not. Would you recommend Psycho 3?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Stay as far away from this as possible.
Yeah.
The only thing that could be worse, maybe, is Psycho 4.
Yeah.
I don't know definitively because I couldn't find it to watch.
It's a tough one to find. I couldn't find it either. Like I said, I watched clips. I read about it. Just not good from what it seems. And this was an actual TV movie.
Oh, this was a TV movie.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's an actual TV movie. Never had no theatrical release at all.
Psycho 4, the beginning, was
like
a TV movie?
So it's like a sequel / prequel. It has, of course, Anthony Perkins comes back, calls into a radio station From the actress, we can look it up. I forget her name. She's in a lot of things, and he uses a fake name, I believe the name of Eddie, and he tells a story about, pretty much, long story short, he finds a woman, wants to get her pregnant. He's afraid his offspring would have the mental illness he has himself, and craziness ensues. You go back for a prequel, and you see, I forget the actor's name, but it was Elliot from E.T. plays a young Norman Bates.
And flashbacks?
Yeah, in flashbacks, that's him. Like a 16, 17-year-old, he's seen with his mother and things.
Yeah, this was originally broadcast on Showtime in 1990.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, I did not see this.
Yeah.
Never seen this.
Rough time.
Can't tell you.
Henry Thomas, that's the young E.T.
But you say they
Elliot.
kind of retcon
Yeah.
a lot of the stories up to now.
Yeah, it's almost like 2 and 3 never happened, and 4 is a direct follow-up to 1. Because like you said, at the end of 3, he's being arrested once again.
Mm-hmm.
And in part 4, he was never, he's out. So I doubt he would go on a killing spree, be arrested, killing spree, arrested. I don't think he's freed a second time.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
I know there was a made-for-TV movie also called Bates Motel around 1987 or so.
Oh yeah.
I do remember watching
Yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
where it wasn't
I've seen its
Anthony
trailer.
Perkins.
Right.
It was a different actor playing Norman Bates. Then there was the A&E series Bates Motel, which is actually really good.
I watched the majority of the first season. It's very well done.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
I love the actor on there that plays Norman. He's on. There's a series that he's on now where he plays an autistic dog.
The Good Doctor?
Yeah. He's really good on that.
He was in talks to be our new Spider-Man for a few months. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. The actress that plays his mom, that's in the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
I think Vera. What is her last name? I can't think of her last name.
Yeah.
She's excellent in that, and it gets more into the, like, there's his brother, and it just adds so much to the mythology of Norman Bates. Though I will tell you, I've only seen a few episodes from the first season, but what I've seen of Bates Motel is really good. I know my wife watched it a lot. Any other thoughts on the Psycho? Are we missing anything?
The
Psycho?
remake.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And Anne Heche.
That gets a bad
Shot
rap.
for shot.
That gets a bad rap. I don't know why.
I agree with you a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I think it gets a bad rap because it's unnecessary.
I guess.
Why?
I think it's cool. Now, we are victims of this as well, but I think it's cool to hate on remakes and reboots. And 88% of the time that is warranted, but I think this time it was not. I think
it's not bad.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't think there was nothing, and I know the point was to do a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, and they succeeded in that. But if that's your only motivation, you've kind of set the bar low as to what. There's nothing.
I don't know.
You can't bring anything new to it. It didn't even feel fresh. It just felt like watching a different production of something.
I think it's fun, though. I mean, it's the same as going to see a stage production of Little Shop of Horrors. You've seen it on stage before. You've seen the Jack Nicholson version. You've seen the 80s version. But you still go on stage and see it. You know what you're going to see, and you know the story. But it's cool to see a different version of it, different actors, different takes on it. I think it's the same thing to me.
That was 98?
I believe so, yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I can't put high praise. Who directed that? That was
Gus Van Sant.
Gus Van Sant.
Yeah.
I can't shovel high praise on it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there.
Rank the Psycho movies with the remake in there, please.
Really?
Yeah, do it.
Can I include Bates Motel?
Sure. Like the 80s version?
Or the A&E.
Oh, okay.
The
sure,
A&E version.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Psycho's top.
Okay.
Bates Motel, from what I've seen,
Uh-huh.
is going to be number 2. Number 3 is the remake.
Remake over 2? Really?
Number 4, I can't put Psycho 4 in here because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But number 4 is
You
going
know
to be
4 is going to be the bottom. You know that.
Is it?
It has to be.
Number 4 is Psycho 2.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Psycho 3. So just say Psycho 4 is number 6.
Yeah.
You?
If I can't tie, I'll put Psycho at 1. Psycho 2 at 2.
You would tie those? Are you serious?
Yeah. Right now, currently. Like I said, Psycho was force-fed to me a lot. I mean, it's one of those things. There were times, I watched it many times back to back. I don't mean like a few days in a row, but like it stopped and then began again.
Oh, wow.
Like that. So Psycho, then Psycho 2, the remake at number 3,
Mm-hmm.
the Bates Motel show, then part 3 and part 4.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. Give 2 a shot. Again.
So, and I'll wrap this up here. If you go to Universal Studios in Hollywood,
Oh, yeah.
and you take the backlot tour, you swing around past the Bates Motel,
Yeah.
with the house in the back and
That's
everything.
cool.
And when the tourists come through, they have the Cadillac parked there in front of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So the tour comes around, and here we have the Bates Motel, and behind that Norman Bates' house, blah 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 blah. And you see Norman Bates walk out of the hotel. He throws a body in the trunk of the car and then chases the tram with a knife. Pretty funny.
How do you think Norman Bates racks up to? Because some people, it depends who you ask. Some say Michael Myers. You can go earlier and say Black Christmas or Leatherface. You can go even earlier and say a Norman Bates. Do you think he had any kind of sway? And I say he is a fictional character, of course. Any kind of grounds being laid for that on-screen slasher? Was he a foundation for that? You think?
Definitely the Godfather.
Think
Or
so?
the Grandfather.
Yeah.
Or the Godfather.
Yeah. Wait, that's Diesel. Never mind.
Yeah, he's the grandfather, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. Because I mean, think of a Jason Voorhees, a Michael Myers, Leatherface. They almost have a supernatural-ish, very evil, superpower strength, a tool. This guy is a person and a knife.
Yeah.
Things that could happen.
I was reading that, like, a lot of these slasher characters, Norman has his roots in real-life serial killers. Ed
Yeah.
Gein.
Oh yeah. Same for Leatherface. It's all kind of based on that. The infatuation with the mother and that whole deal.
I think there is a direct through line between Norman Bates and the slasher films of the 80s.
Yeah. They just kind of
For sure. Or 70s.
They
I
kicked
guess
it up a
really
notch later
started
on.
in
I
the
mean,
70s.
where a bullet wouldn't do it. Where Norman, a straight, a taser would put him down. That's the kind of crazy part about it. It was such fear, but just a normal, scrawny person.
Do you have a favorite 2 or 3 scenes through all of these films?
I mean, the shower scene, of course. That is epic. That's good. Once again, the shovel scene. Part 2 is fantastic. Part 3, nothing stands out to me. And 4, I wouldn't know. So yeah, those shovel scene and shower scene.
I think there is a very humorous scene in the third one. After he kills the girl that's in town for the reunion, and he shoves her body in the ice chest.
Yeah. On
The ice machine outside the...
And the police officer comes up and digs through the
and digs through the ice. And he's like, well, Norman, I don't know. And he reaches in and grabs like some
Yeah.
bloody ice.
Yeah. Worst cop ever.
Uh-huh. And then you see the ice fall and her face is right there in the ice machine. I guess it's her hand.
Yeah, it was
Is that her hand?
Mhm.
That's a pretty funny scene.
Yeah.
And that may be the highlight of that third movie,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
In the second one, no, it's also in the third one. At the very beginning, when you see that not only is he back up to his old mother ways, he's also back up to his old taxidermy ways.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then there's that whole creepy thing where he catches the bird and
Right.
he's, practicing taxidermy.
Yeah.
And then you see him like, fill the bird carcass with sand, and then he takes the same spoon and puts it in the peanut butter and eats it.
I think it was Peter Pan, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Some very runny-looking Peter Pan.
It was. Well, I
peanut
thought the
butter.
same thing.
I think we've come a long ways.
Our PB texture.
Yes. I do like looking at old products that I remember.
Yeah.
Because I remember when the Peter Pan peanut butter jars looked like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot in the first one, though. Just one of my favorite scenes will always be that last scene of Psycho. Maybe even leading up to it, when the cop asks the detective, he's chilled, can I take him a blanket? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And so you see him walk into the room where Norman is. You don't see Norman. He takes the blanket in there, and you just hear Norman's mom say, thank you, dear.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's
good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy the first Psycho.
Yeah.
One of my faves.
Yeah.
The following 3, not so much.
Oh, 2's so good. 2's so
2
good.
is not good. Do not watch Psycho 2. It is
I want everyone to
will-
watch 2 and see what they think about
Yeah,
it.
watch it.
Because
Listen to
for
what you
over
think.
30 years of my life, I was shunned from watching 2, and now I'm kind of mad I didn't see it before now.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I missed out.
Really?
Yeah. I think it makes the series, the franchise much stronger. It gives depth.
It's a totally unbelievable. There's so many things that happen in that movie that are so totally unbelievable. First of all,
I think horror movies in general, what's fun about that is,
Marion Crane's sister will be able to convince her daughter to befriend Norman Bates to trick him into murdering again.
We cannot break down logic in horror movies. Jason Voorhees drowned in a lake, but he didn't. Now he's a demon, big-muscled, swampy 30-year-old paranormal.
Yeah, but Psycho is supposed to be based in reality more than those. And how about when they're playing mind games and Norman walks into his mother's room and you see that it's all kind of covered with sheets and it's cobwebs and it's dust and there's dirt on the mirror. And then 5 minutes later, it's all cleaned up and he runs out in horror. And then when he runs back in, he goes and gets Mary and takes her back in there and it's boarded up again. That is some supernatural cleaning abilities that supposedly Mary did or her mom.
Right.
Working in conjunction.
Yeah. It was like the Scream. I'm telling you, it's like Scream. There were two people involved.
And so they planned to do this the entire time that also Norman's birth mother is also planning to kill on his behalf.
Right. Yeah.
So Norman's out of the asylum. And it's everybody's let's bring back Norman's mom.
Right.
And they all have a Norman's mom outfit hidden somewhere in the house.
That's true. And that was a weird thing I thought. What if he did snap on one of them? They're putting their own lives and or their mother's or daughter's lives in danger as well.
Right.
That was weird.
She would not put her mother... If Norman killed her sister, she would not put her own daughter in harm's way with Norman Bates.
Yeah.
And she does.
Yeah.
What a terrible movie.
No, I will not accept that as an answer.
I think it tarnishes the legacy of Psycho.
I think it makes it so much
This
better.
is why no one ever talks about these movies.
I think it makes it better.
Because they're terrible. They're terrible.
I'm curious. We played last year Dead and Rotten with the first Psycho. Now, I'm fully aware the ratings won't be as high for the other ones, but I'm curious what those ratings are. Let me check that out real quick.
On Rotten Tomato?
Yeah.
So the original Psycho is going to be in the 90s. I'm going to say around 96, 97.
We did it last year. What was it?
I can't remember.
It was the highest one we did. Yeah,
so it's going to be around that mark. It's going to be near 100, the original Psycho.
Tomato meter, 97%.
Psycho 2 is going to be in the 56 to 57 range.
That is 61.
Okay. Psycho 3 is going to be around the 15 to 25 range.
That big of a drop, you think?
Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
That is. This is taking so long. So many ads in this site now. What happened, Rotten Tomatoes? 58. Not too much of a drop. I thought it'd be a further drop than that.
Really?
Yeah, 58%.
I don't know that Psycho 4 will have one.
And the audience scores a 29% for that.
Yeah, because it's terrible. It's real bad.
Let's see here. I don't see Psycho 4 having one.
Bates Motel. Or the 98 Psycho.
There it is, Psycho 4 at the beginning. Would you say that is?
20.
For some reason, I guess there are no official reviews because no theatrical release. So 0 on Tomato Meter. There's no review. But audience score, 33.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those Psycho fans.
Let's see
just
that.
Can't let it go.
98 remake.
If they were a Ghostbusters fan, they would say Ghostbusters 2 is good.
38%. I guess the remake of all the movies has the lowest score. The remake does. 20% below Psycho 3.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not fair. Because Psycho 3 is much worse.
Right.
Much worse.
Right. Yeah.
Any final Psycho thoughts?
I think it's time
for a reboot.
I think it's time for a reboot.
No!
The difference in Psycho 4, which is 1990, to the 1998, that was an 8-year gap, man. 8 years. We're at 20 years past that remake, the first
Well, you
one.
had Bates Motel. Which acts, and if I'm correct,
yeah, do you count that as like
was the final season of Bates Motel not basically Psycho?
I'm not sure. Did they pull a Smallville on it? You see him just go off screen with a knife in his mom's wig. Is that what happens?
I thought they did the Psycho story in the final season.
I don't know. I have no clue, actually.
I think they did. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I think they did the storyline of the movie.
That's kind of cool.
In the last season of Bates Motel.
But that story is meant for a 90-minute movie. I'm sure that the whole show and series is good, but it's time for a remake. Give me a Rob Zombie Psycho remake.
No. Let's not tarnish.
They're all like rednecks and screaming and cussing.
What's Baby?
Yeah.
Like Baby. What's the actress that plays Baby?
Sherry Moon Zombie. Yeah.
She's Marion Crane.
Just terrible acting. It'd fit.
I think I'll go in here and get a shower.
Turns on the Bluetooth speaker from the shower of Rob Zombie music. Yeah. It's got to be set in the 70s, though. That's what we do.
It's true.
I think it'll work. It's been 20 years since that remake. It's time for a new one. That's all I'm saying.
No.
How about this? How about a remake of Part 2, huh?
No.
Come on.
With Vince Vaughn?
Is that better for you?
Vince Vaughn's out of the asylum?
Yeah.
Let's just leave it alone. Let's
Okay.
not do any more with Psycho.
You know, I mean, it could be 50 years from now, but it will come back.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a Netflix series.
It's just odd. Like I said, we've had leprechauns in space. We've had Jason in Manhattan. It's weird that a normal, crazy guy with a knife is acceptable as horror.
Like, you don't think it's a horror movie?
Well, it is, but it's weird to me that's still relevant. That's what I'm saying. You can have a TV series, or as little as 20 years ago, after all those I spoke of, another remake of a horror movie with just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's unusual. Even in Scream, you have just a normal man or woman going crazy, but there's still the effect of who it was, of the ghost face costume, but that's just a man in some duck head pants. That's all it is.
Some duckhead.
Some duck heads.
He looks a lot older in Psycho 3 than he did in Psycho 2 as well.
Yeah.
I know he was sick.
No, from what I read, he found that out during filming of Part 4.
Really?
That's what like during filming of it.
Oh, he found out he was
And
sick.
you can kind of see, I mean, from the clips I've seen, that it just his acting was kind of somber and sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was shortly after he found out is when he died.
He made a career out of being Anthony Perkins, though.
No, he tried other roles and things that didn't work out so well.
What else did he do?
Nothing I can remember.
Is there? Let me look at his filmography right quick. That's a real Southern thing to say.
Right quick.
Well, I recognize nothing on here.
Exactly, yeah. He tried.
His last film was 1992, In the Deep Woods. I think
Yeah.
that's the year he passed away, too.
I mean, he tried hard between the from 60 to 82,
He was
83.
in Disney's The Black Hole?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he
Guess
was in
so.
Disney's The Black Hole. I didn't know that.
Look at that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, go see Psycho.
Yeah,
Don't
do
see
it.
anything else.
Yeah.
Just leave all these other things alone. You can check us out online at adamandjp.com.
Facebook.com/AdamandJP. Don't forget Patreon.com/podcasserole. And on Twitter at AdamandJP.
Next week,
Yeah.
we head into the Twilight Zone.
Yes, we do. We've touched on it before, but this is a little bit different.
And then in 2 weeks,
Oh, yeah.
Halloween Super Show Part 1. Are you loving this Halloween season?
It's great.
Can we do Adam's Ghost next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we're going to do it this week.
Right.
There's a lot of Psycho to talk about.
Yeah. It's a long one.
I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam.
Eat your podcast. Rope.
I can't seem to face